ton of rumors going around now that Scream 7 is going to feel a lot more like the original Wes Craven run of these flicks. It has me thinking about a bunch of actors and actresses I would love to see in a new Scream film. With this 7th installment being a much more mature film for the legacy fans, I'm looking at underrated players from that late 90s, early thousands time period that would be perfect for this franchise. Maybe as Sidney's ally or a potential new Ghostface. Now let's get into it. Before we dive into this top 7 list, I want to thank my patrons for continuing to support this page. Without all of you, I wouldn't be able to continue uploading these goofy little videos. I greatly appreciate your support. Please consider signing up for my Patreon by clicking on the link in the description below. Thank you all again, and now let's really get into this. Scream 7 is still a very mysterious project at the time of recording, as not much is actually known about the film. Technically, the only cast member we have confirmed is Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, alongside Courtney Cox and Roger Jackson, who have hinted at a possible return in interviews. We don't know what the plotline for this film will be yet, so it's tough to conjure up character descriptions, but here are a few actors and actresses that I'd love to see play new people in the Scream universe. Brandy Norwood is best known by horror fans through her supporting role in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, the only good I Know sequel so far. I hope that changes with the I Know What You Did Last Summer requel film set to release next summer, but we'll just have to see. She just goes by Brandy, doing a mononym thing like Cher or Beyonce or Prince. He was a symbol at one point too, right? Brandy would be an excellent addition to a new Scream movie for a few reasons. Not only is she a shining addition to the I Know franchise, but she's also making a comeback to horror this year with A24's The Front Room. She has a leading role in the film that has a lot of fans excited to see her back on the scary big screen. She's also multifaceted, as she's a singer-songwriter who sold over 40 million records worldwide and has even performed on Broadway. It would be sweet to see Brandy work with Kevin Williamson as well, considering that the I Know sequel didn't feature Kevin's beloved writing. With Williamson directing the new Scream sequel, it could be a lovely collaboration between the two who have always been connected between projects. I could see Brandy playing one of Sidney's friends in the new city she lives in. She could play a similar role to Tatum in the original film or Elise Neal's character in the sequel. I think that could be a cool dynamic that could showcase one of the few positive relationships Sidney has bolstered in this next chapter of her life. Fairuza Balk is best known for starring alongside Neve Campbell in The Craft. Besides Scream, of course, The Craft is one of my favorite horror films from the 90s that gives off a female Lost Boys vibe. It's the performances that make this film so special. Not only does it feature Skeet Ulrich and Neve Campbell playing wildly different teens than their Scream counterparts, the rest of the cast is pure 90s excellence. Robin Tunney and Rachel True both have standout moments throughout the entire flick. It is an easy top 10 for me from the entire decade. My absolute favorite character from the film, however, is Nancy Downs, played by Balk. She's the definition of mean goth girl that has some witchy powers. Her performance is cold and sullen. She also reprised the character for like a second of screen time in the cash-grabby Legacy sequel that came out a few years ago. Trust me, you can skip that one. I'd love to see Fairuza team back up with Campbell in Scream 7 to play an older goth lady considering her signature trademark. Just like Brandy, Balk is still active, serving as a supporting character on Amazon Prime's Paradise City. To nobody's surprise, she plays a similar archetype there, except as a mom. I'd love her spooky presence to be felt in Scream 7 as a possible red herring, maybe even our next Ghostface. After Scream came out, there were all of these 90s and early thousands slashers that tried to capture a similar vibe. Easily one of the best to come out of this copycat time period was Urban Legend from director Jamie Blanks. Before Kevin Williamson was announced to direct the 7th installment, he was my first choice to helm the Scream franchise for his work on that film and Valentine. The star of this movie is the absolutely fantastic Alicia Witt. 90s horror fans may know her from her leading role in that film, but she recently gave an integral performance to the indie horror hit Longlegs. Whether you felt that film was overhyped or not, Alicia and the rest of the cast gave some stellar performances. I'd love to see her in a Scream movie, potentially playing the Karen-type character that has been established in a rumor a little while ago. I could totally see her playing that type of character after her performance in Longlegs especially. Alicia is clearly a versatile actor just from a comparison of these two roles alone. I think she would bring an excellent energy to Scream 7 to again make it feel more 90s, something many of the fans are looking for in this continuation. Stranger Things has a plethora of fantastic side characters and villains. Billy Hargrove, played by Dr. Montgomery, is both. Serving as a massive highlight in Stranger Things Season 3, Montgomery has been a perfect choice for a new Ghostface since the first time I saw him on the Netflix show. We all love Eddie Munson and Sean Astin's Bob, but this character and actor has flown under the radar recently. Besides a supporting role in 2022's Elvis, Montgomery hasn't done much. I'd love to see him play another excellent villain in the new Scream film, since we know he's capable of such a performance. Let's see if he tries to hit on any older women in this film, or feed Ghostface victims to an ever-growing meat monster. Okay, maybe not so much that last thing. Breaking into horror in just the last few years is the uber-talented Sophie Thatcher. She's beloved on the hit TV drama Yellow Jackets that also features Jasmine Savoy Brown from Screams 5 and 6. Thatcher also led last year's The Boogeyman and can be seen in supporting roles for Maxine and this year's The Heretic. I'm really excited to see that new A24 flick this November. Thatcher would be an excellent supporting character in a Scream movie. While I didn't care for the bland gray sludge of a script that was the Boogeyman adaptation, Thatcher made the best of what she was given by delivering a still emotional performance. That's why they say casting is so important. If your script sucks, at least the cast can try to make it better, right? With the older cast we've already discussed here, I could see Sophie potentially being someone's daughter. I imagine that even though Scream 7 is clearly targeting the older fans, we will still have certain cast members to draw in the younger crowd that attach themselves to this franchise after the success of Screams 5 and 6. Sophie could be just that. Can you believe that Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself, never played a supporting character in one of these movies? Especially after Wes Craven returned to the Freddy franchise for 1994's meta sequel, New Nightmare. You'd think that Englund would have been a part of one of these movies in the original trilogy. Now could be a great time to fix that. Englund has gone on record saying that he's, quote, too old and thick to play Freddy anymore, but maybe having a smaller role in the next Scream film is more doable for him these days. Revisiting our Stranger Things conversation from earlier, he also plays a great side character in that show. Victor Creel is a very underrated part to season 4, even though he had limited time on screen. Who's to say we don't get something similar to that here in Scream 7? I'm thinking about characters like John Milton or Dr. Stone from previous entries. I think Englund would play a great character in that same vein here. Potentially Sydney's therapist? Imagine this guy pitching Dream Theory to Sidney Prescott. That would be rich. Now, before the Stu Truthers start losing their minds in the comments section, I think Lillard would be great in Scream 7 as a brand new character. While Matthew has surely aged like fine wine, he does look a lot different than he did in the original Scream. I could see him playing a new character in the franchise, not without any nods to the past, of course. This might be jarring for longtime fans, but between his career comeback in last year's Five Nights at Freddy's and the eternal love he gets from the Scream heads, I say it could only help this movie to establish him as a new character. You can't tell me the fandom wouldn't erupt if they saw the headlines read, Matthew Lillard has been cast in Scream 7. On top of that, who's to say they haven't already contacted him? Again, my guy here is poppin'. Have you seen how long the line is to meet this guy at horror conventions? Everyone loves Matthew Lillard. I can't see this being a bad thing as long as they don't force a Stu return. I love Matthew, but that would make absolutely no sense after 5 sequels and almost 30 years since the original massacre occurred. Mr. Mocker is rotting in the ground. Sorry, folks. Before we close out this list, I'd like to ask you all to subscribe to my new gaming channel, GullGotha. I'm currently playing horror video games over there, and I'd love to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the summer. Thank you to the 300 or so folks who have already checked it out. Which actors or actresses do you want to see in Scream 7? Leave it for me in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.